Hello, I'm Angela Arterberry, and today I'll be presenting about a summer camp I started. So the title of my presentation is Getting Out of the Therapy Room, One SLP's Dream to Create a Summer Camp for Communication. And so that we will move on to the next slide. The inspiration for this camp came from my own life experience. My son, who's 10 now, but throughout his life had struggles in, maintaining his attention and regulating his energy level and these kinds of things. Later we found out he had ADHD, but he was always sent home from camps. I was told, we just don't have the staff here to handle your son. So I thought, well, I'll team up with a friend of mine whose son also had some struggles, and we will see what we can put together. The friend also was a speech pathologist, and her son had high-functioning autism, and would hear the same kind of thing from camps that she would send her child to. So moving on to slide 3, you can see that when we started, it was kind of a scrappy little group of people. The 3 adults in the background there. There's me in the white t-shirt and my friend Kay standing next to me. Then I had another friend in the green t-shirt. She was her name is Megan Cermak, and she is a learning specialist, a very gifted learning specialist. So I roped her in to help us. And then we had 2 middle school girls that could help us kind of corral the children. But we, going on to the next page, we just kind of did it out of her house. We used her kitchen and living room and dining room, moved out the table and put a chalkboard on the wall and just used what we could. Even the backyard, you see here that we would have little picnics and other things in the backyard and practice making s'mores and things. So that's how we started. It was very basic and quickly thrown together. I'd say we had the idea and had our first week of camp in a month. So it was just at the end of the school year, and we thought, let's just do this. Maybe there are other families. So we just kind of sent out some emails to people that we knew, and they sent it to other people they knew, and after the end of the summer, we probably served about 20 other children besides our own who also attended the camp. And then the following year, year 2, which is slide number 5, I decided that, well, Kay couldn't keep doing it, because she had a private practice. So I kept going and decided now we got to go big. There is an interest, so let's rent churches. So I rented 3 different churches around the Portland area. And we scheduled 9-day camps instead of just 5-day camps, which was year 1. I determined that kids were just starting to make progress after the 5 days, and then it was over. So we expanded the number of days, which meant that we also needed more staff and money. So I did a bigger push to get high school and maybe some college people to come help me, and I did. I got at that year 2, I had about 75% high school helpers and about 25% college age helpers. I just contacted the local high schools and said, I have this community service project that people could do for hours. Would you share them with kids that you think would be interested? And got a lot of kids that way, and they were all excellent because it was 2 weeks in the summer unpaid, and so you kind of self-select a great staff that way. And did about a day and a half of training before we started with the kids, and realized then on year 3, which was last year, slide number 6, that we needed to do some more some more staff training. And so what I did was I teamed up with the local university to teach a clinical practicum class there so that I could get students that needed the credit and needed the clock hours. And I could come to them at their university and do some more training and things so that I knew what they were learning, and we didn't just have to cram it in a day. And so then I moved out of kind of the teaching role and of the classes and had the grad students be the teachers of the classes, and I supervised. But I was nervous to just have grad students whose only experience pretty much in the clinic setting was one-to-one, to try to run a group of, 5 to 6 to 7 kids with special needs. So I also hired licensed teachers of any kind, or school counselors, anybody like that had been used to kind of running a classroom or running a larger group. And that worked very well. Those people shared a lot about classroom management and lesson planning, and then they also learned about speech pathology and scaffolding instruction from us. So that was great. Slide 7 is the year coming up. So this year we were able to put together a board of directors and submit for a charitable organization status with the IRS to get our 501c3, and that just passed, so it's very exciting. That takes a long amount of effort. And so now we can really pursue grant funding because as you'll see later, there was not a lot of money to be made in this kind of thing. It really was a nonprofit, is perfect for a nonprofit. So that's one of the things I write here. The other thing that we were lucky to do was be able to team with a capstone class at Portland State University. Before kids graduate, or excuse me, students graduate, they have to do a big service project. And so the Marketing for Nonprofits class picked us as a community partner. And so they helped me to, like I say, refine my message, redo my website, pick a logo that really communicates what we do, things like that. So we like our logo, 2 kids in a talking bubble smiling. And let's see, we also employed now a new online registration system because it just got to be too large. Last year we had about 89 campers and about 100 staff. And this year we're, not going to double that, of course, but maybe grow by 50%. And it's just a lot of data to manage yourself. All years prior, we did it all by hand, just on Excel spreadsheets and trying to keep everyone's data together. And it was just too big of a job. So we bought into a camp registration system that works with like Easter Seals camps and things like that. And that's been wonderful. I've also needed to hire more help to supervise. ASHA requires 25% supervision for clinical hours, and I just, couldn't do that myself, so I had to hire people, and it's been wonderful to have SLPs share their summer with us and their expertise and be able to provide the hours that are required for the students. We'll also have, probably 20 or so graduate students leading the classes, and probably about 20 or so undergraduates also trying to get clock hours. So I needed the help with the supervision. For the next slide, when I really reflect about how our camp's been able to grow so quickly when the economy wasn't very strong, and this is not an inexpensive camp. We only charge $20 an hour compared to a private practice SLP, but because the students are really the ones providing the instruction, we felt that was fair. but it's a 50-hour camp, and so it's about $1,000 or so to send your child, and for 2 weeks. So it's not inexpensive. But even with that, we've grown, and so, you know, in thinking about why we've grown, that was one of the questions that the marketing class asked parents. They did some focus kind of groups with parents that had attended and asked them, you know, what drew them to our camp. And one was that they really liked being able to send their child to a place they were going to continue working on goals instead of just a respite camp or, you know, having a babysitter over and that kind of thing. They really liked it that the child would continue to make progress before school started. You know, being able to offer a 1-to-1 staff ratio. We have as many staff as we have kids. And it's because the interest is so great. We don't just take speech pathology students. We're interested in any undergraduate who is interested in any helping profession and is trying to kind of figure out if speech pathology or OT or teaching is right for them. So we are able to have a lot of help. That doesn't mean every child gets a 1-to-1 assistant or anything, but it just means that there are a lot of extra hands. If you do need a 1-to-1 assistant, it's free of charge. It's just included in that $1,000. They were impressed with the amount of staff training that kids get, or that our students get. You know, if you were to, say, sign your child up for Park and Rec, they get training, of course, but it's not the same level that our staff gets because it's a college class. And then lastly, they appreciated that siblings could go. Our dream is that children in the same family can talk about their day at camp together at the table, and it doesn't matter if one child is minimally verbal and another child can talk up a storm. They both had the same experience of making ice cream or whatever we did that day, and so that's nice for parents. Slide 9 talks about the research, and the first piece that really stood out to me when I was looking at language impairment and social emotional kinds of challenges, and you know, saying that 50 to 70% of kids with communication challenges also present with social emotional challenges. Yet how often do we explicitly work on those things in a public school? You know, most of the time we're dealing with their vocabulary and, you know, their ability to follow directions, but really their ability to handle themselves socially and emotionally is huge, a huge need. And then the second piece that really stood out to me is just that school success is dependent equally on your ability to do academics as it is to get by socially. And if we're just focusing on a child's academics, we're really missing out. Slide 10 talks about some of the key parts of a successful social group. And so this is what we try to do here at our camp. We make the abstract concrete. So, you know, social thinking and social cognition, as we've learned from the work of Michelle Garcia Winner and others, is a very abstract concept. And so, like she and Stephanie Madrigal do, try to make something like the unthinkables to make this concept of social thinking concrete. And so we heavily use their products because it helps make it concrete. Provide structure and flexibility. Every day is the same. At our camp, we follow a schedule every day. The activities change, but the schedule stays exactly the same. Provide scaffolded language support. We train our staff how to do that. Provide multiple and varied learning opportunities. We do that. We have listening things and tactile things and things inside to do and outside to do. Include other focused activities to work on in groups, and using cooperation is a big part. I'll show you about that. We work a lot on the next slide, at number 11, on fostering self-awareness and self-esteem, talking about what are your gifts. It's not about what are your challenges. I mean, we all, we know you have challenges. Your parent knows, okay? But we also want to talk about what is the unique thing that you bring. This year we're going to have a talent show or a talent showcase, and everybody will get a chance to share it with each other. We select goals. Every child gets one goal at camp that they can work on throughout the 10 days. And all staff are aware of that goal. And that goal is chosen with the help of the parents and our own clinical observations. And then we provide a progress report at the end to families about what strategies helped and how the child did. And then the whole day really is practicing generalization. They might learn about a goal in one class, but then they practice it throughout the whole rest of the day in the other classes without even really us drawing attention to the fact that right now we're practicing generalization, So onto slide 12, we just have some things here that we believe in, and these are things we share with the families and the staff, and you can read through there as well. And my guess is that you agree with a lot of that yourself. Okay, we have a question here. Yes, right now we are just in the Portland area. It takes a lot of my time. Basically, I work on it all year. Some months are full-time. Other months are more, 10 hours a week to 20 hours a week, something like that. We're in Lake Oswego this year. Yes, it is a full-time practice for me, but yet it doesn't pay the bills to the full-time practice. So you understand. You'll see in a bit that research is coming. I spend the off time looking for staff, looking for a place to hold the camp, and I'll talk about that. Okay, moving on, telling you just a bit about our campers. 75% of them have some kind of special need, or aren't yet categorized or labeled or diagnosed with anything, but are a little more immature than their peers, and their parents are sending them to really learn from the curriculum. And 25% are kids that don't need to learn the curriculum. They're there to just enjoy the activities and be a role model. They are the kids that make it fun, or can help make it fun, because they're not hesitant to try something that's kind of sticky or gross. They'll put their hands right in it. And then we take all of the kids, let's say it'll be 50 at a session, and divide them into 5 or 6 groups. This year we've decided to try to put them near similar age peers. We used to do multi-age grouping, and we really liked that. But really the goal of our camp is friendship development that could last beyond the summer camp. And so we're hopeful that if kids are with kids that are similar age, which is what school is, when you get back in the fall, that hopefully some friendships can develop that way. Then on number 14 is the steps we follow for summer camp. And first, staff fills out applications, and we do background checks and an interview. Then the campers at the same time are registering online. We have a social emotional questionnaire that the parents fill out and we review. And then the campers and the staff all get together about a week before camp starts, and we do an orientation meeting so that we can kind of see what the kids are like in a new environment, and it gives the staff a good picture of what camp might feel like the first day. Then the week after that we meet to plan. And then we have our 2-week session. at the end of the 2 weeks, the last day, we hand parents their progress report that we've been working on the last week of camp. Slide 15, we're going to just talk quickly about our 5-hour day, starting on slide 16. And you can read through that, but basically kids come, and then we go outside for a little while at recess. Then they go to 2 of their 30-minute classes, and you can read through there that we are trying to make it similar to a school day. If you can imagine middle school, how the teachers stay in the same room, but the kids travel. That's like camp. The kids are traveling in camper teams, and the teachers stay. On 17, I go through kind of, we have different friendship classes based on your level, and we have all the different levels at camp. I borrowed work from Michelle Garcia-Winner there to describe those levels. We also have feelings classes, and we teach steps to handle their feelings that I have listed there. You can see on any of those 5 steps that we teach, something could go wrong at any step. So we try to really notice where is the breakdown occurring. Slide 19, we have a Yak Academy class that is really trying to replicate school and working in a classroom, focused on sharing materials and being a good part of a group, working in a pair, things like that. This next slide, slide 20, talks about our games class. We added that last year because we made it a 5-hour day and we needed more classes, and thought, well, where are other parts of the school day that are hard for children? And of course, PE and recess are usually times when our children can get into trouble, so we wanted to really practice how to play those games and how to handle frustration or being let down if you aren't picked or if your team loses. So I like this picture because the boy whose head is inside the hoop is a typically developing peer that came to the camp, and then the other children we talk about, well, they're smiling, so they're having fun. But if the boy always had his head in the hoop, would they be smiling? And also, one of the kids isn't yelling and screaming at him to get his head out of the hoop, right? They know that he's just joking and that he will be done soon and this is funny. So these are things that usually can make the kids kind of upset. The next class, 21, excuse me, we have a projects class where kids have to work together on some kind of project, share materials, take their turn, negotiate, things like that. And it's not really about what they make, it's about the process. And we have 5 minutes, so I'm going to just quickly go through some of these other classes. We have a buddies class that is for the children that have functional communication or are still working on social skills. And in this case, practicing just being able to share in a game was a big step for this little boy with the headphones on. Normally he would just walk around the perimeter of the room. So for him to join and stay was a big stay and play was a great thing. 23 shows just our daily snack activity, and it's just quite fun to see who freaks out with their food touching, and who will take a bite, and who will just take a sniff or a lick, and we accept all of those. And I add on page 24, talking again about the 1-to-1 ratio. We have different colors of t-shirts to show parents our level of education. And so if you're in a blue shirt, you are still learning. So don't ask them questions, pretty much. Talk to the people in the red shirt. And then I have, in these next slides, just describing some of the jobs we have. And let's see, do we have any other questions? No, I think we're good. And so, yes, some of the different jobs we've had. And remember, I just started with some middle schoolers and another speech path and a special ed teacher. And so as we've grown, we've needed to get more specialized and get more help. And it's wonderful. We're still hiring. I'm also happy to talk to anyone throughout the state or anyone throughout the country who wants to set up something like this in their area, because the demand is great. And so you can just kind of keep looking through the slides that I have. On slide 33, I did some research and found some other social skill camps that are similar to what we do, and not necessarily taught by special or by speech pathologists, but their programs looked very good, and I thought to include them. But you can see not every state has something. And it's just a wonderful service to provide to the community and to future speech pathologists. So if you have any questions, you can ask me at any time. Oh, yes. Okay, so it says here, Sherry from Roseburg says, since it appears that your summer camp is successful in meeting a need, have you or your team considered setting up similar camps but outside the Portland metro area? Okay, I would love to have these throughout the whole state, throughout the whole country. I'd love every kid who wants to go to a camp be able to go and not be turned away. And as you see here on slide 31, what did it take? Well, it took a lot of personal and financial sacrifice to put the whole thing together. You know, right up until this year and through this year, it's all funded on parents paying the whole thing until you can get that 501c and start looking for grant funding. But you also need to have that supportive team and that group of teachers that will come and work for you or work with you. And so having a university near that has future teachers, and you know, it doesn't have to be speech paths, but that was really the key for us. We wouldn't be able to be big and grow like this if I didn't have the staff for it. There are enough kids to fund it all, but if I didn't have great staff, I couldn't charge $20 an hour. I would feel terrible at that, if I didn't have great staff. So right now we do not have plans to go anywhere else, but I'm open to talking with people and helping them, start small where they are and help them grow in their area. And if there is any other questions, you can email me. My email is on the last slide, and I'm happy to have ongoing discussions with people because, as I said, the need is great. Parents are so appreciative. Children have fun, and families have something common to talk about at the end of the day. So thank you so much for letting me go quickly through those slides. And also I would love to email them to you directly if you need them so that you can look at them later too. So just let us know. And here's Sharon. Okay.